Every day, more and more road users are filming their journeys, which can often end in disaster. Pioneered by motorists in Russia and Eastern Europe, dashboard-mounted cameras are constantly recording our behavior on the roads. From the bizarre to the ridiculous, the funny to the downright dangerous. The thousands and thousands of dash cams around the world have captured just about every mishap you can think of. Now we're going to delve into this treasure trove of stupidity on the roads. Put things right by pointing the finger of blame. Replay the action to see what really happened. And of course, there's nothing like seeing other people's mistakes when it comes to helping us become better drivers. And please remember, on all the clips, yes, that's all the clips we show, no one, and that means no one, is seriously hurt. So drive safely. Not everyone is this lucky. Coming up on yet another truly mind-blowing episode of Car Crash TV, more deplorable and despicable driving from the four corners of the world that, had it been isolated to the UK, would have resulted in the following serious contraventions of our highway code. Article 7. If traffic is coming, let it pass. Look all around again and listen. Do not cross until there is a safe gap in the traffic and you are certain that there is plenty of time. Article 126. Leave enough space between you and the vehicle in front so that you can pull up safely if it suddenly slows down or stops. The one about there being a time and a place at which to practice the high jump. And a little something I learned from my son when I help him with his physics homework. Velocity plus acceleration equals success. He's sure to pass his GCSEs with flying colours. Driving is a tricky bit of business at the best of times, and there's all sorts of hazards you need to be on the lookout for. The majority of those dangers do, of course, come from your fellow motorists, who haven't had the good fortune to watch this fine broadcast and learn the error of their ways. However, there is a hazard out there that not even I can educate you on. I am, of course, talking about the wild weather. Every couple of years, the Winter Olympics come along and try to introduce new events to broaden the appeal of the games. This year, it's car curling, and the first competitor happens to be the favourite, the Toyota Prius. Progress is steady, but he'll need to start removing some of the other cars from the field in order to stand a chance of winning. That's two knocked out of contention, but can he take out the final vehicle and give himself pride of place in the target area? He can, making this a successful result for the Prius, but sadly not for the Olympic Committee, due to some very disappointing viewing figures. Oh well, you've got 2 more years to come up with something better. I was recently angered to learn that Pam from HR and my assistant Neil have been fooling around. Now, I'm a traditional chap, so I don't approve of any premarital fornication. Fortunately, I have a hotline to the big man upstairs, and I've made him aware of their sinful behavior. Damn, he missed. Though hopefully, the near-death experience will be enough for them to take a leaf out of my book. Put a ring on it first, Neil. Speaking of people who deserve some comeuppance, undertaking at night, in snow, and cue the world's smallest avalanche. Justice is served. If I've learnt anything from the highway code and 80s mainstream heavy metal, it's that roads are slippery when wet. Clearly this driver is neither a reader or a fan of Bon Jovi. She is, though, a young woman, so let's marvel at how quickly the men in the local area flock to aid her. Disgusting. She's a human being, not a piece of charred meat. Though I appreciate the confusion, judging by the smoke coming from that car. And I wonder what sort of person is driving this car. Could be a man, could be a woman, definitely a total prat. Of course, having snow and ice on the roads does have some advantages. For example, the snow here has turned what would otherwise be a thoroughly depressing scene into something much more jovial and festive. No, wait, someone's ruined it. Yes, not even a sprinkling of the white stuff can make this vista appealing now. What's this guy's problem exactly? Those cars didn't crash. So is anger justified? Ah, I see. Our man is on the plump side, and with his path to the garage blocked, he's in serious danger of missing out on his 20-4 Cornish pasty. No wonder he's cross. Never come between a big fella and his meat and 2 veg. In life, I found myself making many incorrect decisions at memorable junctions. Like that time I proposed to my first wife, Ruth. Like that time I proposed to my second wife, Barbara. Like that time I hired my assistant, Neil. Like that time I failed to use robust protection and then subsequently proposed to my third wife, Janet. Here are some more people making incorrect decisions as they go up the junction. Bit of advice now for the town planners watching. Please be mindful of where you construct your crossroads and take time to consider the surrounding infrastructure. This one has been foolishly laid in close proximity to a popular fast food chain, and the consequences are severe. Come on, guys. You know the smell of freshly cooked beef is like a siren song to a red-blooded male.
Merry Christmas, everyone. And what would you like this year, little Billy?
To see an undertaker get his comeuppance at a junction. Never let it be said the big man doesn't deliver. I've heard of somebody putting their foot down to jump the lights, but jumping the central reservation to jump the lights is enough to stop traffic. See what I mean? And he's still stuck behind the lights. Oh, the delicious irony. In this part of the world, crashes are such a common occurrence that all the cars have bits missing and motorists prowl the streets looking for spare parts to replace the ones they've lost. This Peugeot's on the lookout for a new rear bumper. Is it his lucky day? No, it's not. First things first. For pity's sake, people, learn where the autofocus button is, please. Next. Actually, don't bother. I don't think any advice can help this guy. We're back on the streets of Dubai, where the permanent construction work taking place means the city continues to grow exponentially. That series of apartment buildings wasn't even there this morning. No wonder this guy was stopped in his tracks. Ooh, pie school. I wonder if this is where you go to learn about how to make delicious pastry-encased treats, or where you go to learn about Pythagoras' theory. Well, judging from the way that car tried to do an abrupt U-turn, I assume it's the former. He's caught a whiff of those enticing baked goodies, and he can't resist altering his course to sample them. I'll have a steak and kidney while you're there. Question, can this duster make it across that junction before the oncoming traffic? Place your bets now. Betting suspended. Run the fun. He's making a good fist of it, but no, of course he can't, because it's a duster, and that's a Mercedes. I'm not being mean, it's just basic science. They probably don't teach that in schools anymore. Broken Britain. Some junctions are difficult to exit because the surrounding infrastructure or the presence of parked cars on the street make for poor visibility. This junction is not one of those. And finally, have you ever watched one of those car review shows and wondered what they mean by understeer? Well, there you go. Still to come on Car Crash TV. We'll try and stay safe in the presence of those vicious vans. See if it's easier to stay safe on foot in the perils of the pedestrians. And having concluded that it's not, try and purchase a fine new chariot in Wheeler Dealer. But first, England's green and pleasant land and some pensioners out for a Sunday drive. That's being ruined by that ghastly-looking thing up ahead. Surely you should be on the motorway, not a little lane like this. I don't think this road was built for you, my friend. Let's find out shortly and answer the question, what happens next? It'll tip you over the edge. Welcome back to Car Crash TV. So what did happen next? Well, as I pointed out earlier, these pensioners are having their Sunday drive ruined by that monstrosity up ahead. Fortunately, our pensioners are a canny pair. And earlier, when the lorry driver pulled over for some sustenance, they sabotaged his vehicle. Yes, they will not let that eyesore ruin theirs and countless other pensioners' weekend ritual. Onwards to the garden centre. Consider the van. Yes, I suppose vans serve a useful purpose in delivering goods up and down the country for the consumer-hungry populace, but in doing so, they poison the minds of their drivers, making them think that they own the road. So is it worth infecting the brains of these poor souls so we can get the latest high-tech gadgets delivered to our doors? Personally, the sooner they master drone deliveries, the better. But in the meantime, we'll have to contend with the vicious vans. We've called this section Vicious Vans, but is that fair? The chap in front of us seems to be behaving rather well, but there's always an exception to the rule. And that rule is that vans do not acknowledge traffic lights. Pedestrians be damned. And a second one to prove my point. Vicious, I told you. What's that? You require further evidence? Fine. Here's a van pushing a car into oncoming traffic. Doesn't get much more vicious than that. Honestly, they're like the Pol Pot of the roads. There's a modern reference for you. And this vicious behavior has a knock-on effect, with drivers of regular vehicles feeling the need to act before the van does what comes naturally. Of course, in this scenario, sadly no one's won, and unless a St. Bernard comes along anytime soon, both drivers will perish. Think on, van drivers, you're only hurting yourselves. Another problem is the bad influence this behavior can have on younger, more impressionable drivers. That guy only passed his test last week, but thanks to the van, he's already learned how to undertake like a total pillock. That's something you should only learn when you've hit 40 and purchased your first Audi. Having fallen on hard times, the A-Team traded in their cool black GMC van for a yellow Transit and registered as Uber drivers. But driving around strangers for cash is doing nothing for BA's rage. And Face no longer has the looks to charm the woman in the Mercedes out of putting in an insurance claim. If you have a problem and no one else can help, then you'd be better off calling the local authorities, to be honest. Earlier this week, when Neil brought my 9 AM latte to me 12 seconds late, we locked him in the basement to deal with our vermin problem. When he emerged with a suspected case of Weil's disease, he was clutching an old piece of film. And on that film, we discovered a dashcam clip captured way back in 1922. So while I go and explain my overzealous punishment to Pam from HR, why don't you settle in for a bit of history, as this, my friends, is the first dashcam clip ever. There's a real onus on fitness these days. Don't eat that, eat this. Don't take the lift, take the stairs. And don't drive to work, walk. Walk? Are you insane? Yes, it might be good for the old cardiovascular system, but the health benefits end there. Don't believe me? Then check out the Perils of the Pedestrians. The roads are very dangerous places for pedestrians to be, so if you are thinking of venturing out on foot, is it safer to do so during the day or at night? Let's find out. Accident averted, all thanks to that gigantic gaseous star, or the sun, as it's better known, perfectly illuminating that Luton van. 1-0 to Daylight. Nighttime's turn. Well, I can already tell that visibility is limited, but it seems everyone is managing to cross this road safely thanks to the ample overhead illumination. Looks like it's a draw then, but wait, I spoke too soon. There's your answer. Daylight wins, and that's because, as we all know, the idiots come out at night. If you look very closely, you'll notice that this is a pedestrian crossing. The two signs either side of the road and the faint trace of a zebra crossing on the asphalt are a dead giveaway. It took me a while to spot those details, so what chance do these motorists have? Basically none. Though I can't help but think the notion of stop, look and listen could have served those young pedestrians well here. I bet Peter Purvis isn't impressed. Ask your parents. You in that car at the front of this pack. I've made a mistake. Indeed you have, sir. You had the audacity to brake at a pedestrian crossing before checking your mirrors. Not everyone follows the rules set out in the highway code. Have you not watched this show? What is it with Hollywood these days? Desperately developing sequels and reboots of tired old franchises in order to milk them for every last drop of cash. Take this latest offering from the Rocky franchise, Rocky 7. Now old and suffering from dementia, the once great Rocky Balboa is so senile he thinks the road is the ring and this 4x4 his great rival Ivan Drago. He's also mistaken that blue people carrier for Adrian, and she died in between films 5 and 6. Come on, Hollywood, try and have an original idea for once. And now this. After 3 sequels and a reboot, they're going again with Karate Kid Reborn. This exclusive footage shows a training montage, and rather than getting his student to wax on and wax off the car, Mr. Miyagi has instead just got his young protege to kick one repeatedly. Call me a purist, but the series really has lost its original charm. And do they really need to remake the original Star Wars? Because if they can't lend some gravitas to the moment Darth Vader discovers his helmet, then mark my words, they're on a hiding to nothing. More taxi app problems. Yes, demand for the service has become so fierce that the drivers can now be selective about who they pick up. Clearly this driver didn't like the cut of that man's jib, so continues on to the next available fare. Not sure you should have been so fickle, though. There's a 1-star review coming your way. Life would be dull without a little bit of mystery, wouldn't it? For example, what is Brexit? Seriously, what is it? I still don't really know. And why is darts considered a sport? And snooker, for that matter. These so-called professionals are not athletes. And much as I'd like to solve these mysteries, I have more pressing matters to attend to. So why not join me in solving the much less complex conundrum that is this latest crash scene investigation? Someone's made a bit of a mess on this motorway, that's for certain. This is Rubbernecker's Utopia. Let's run through the suspects at the scene before the inevitable traffic jam forms. We have Car A, nestled in the central reservation and looking a bit sorry for itself. Car B, tucked in behind Car A and looking extremely suspicious. And Car C, trying to look nonchalant despite the fact it's gone sideways. In the words of Rosemary and Thyme, let's get our sleuth on. Okay, no sign of any suspects so far, which leads me to suspect we're about to get a big entrance from someone. But who will it be? My money's on Car A. Ka-ching! There he is, driving like an absolute pillock. Sure enough, he takes out Car C, quickly followed by Car B, making him a very, very guilty boy. Case closed. Now, back to those earlier questions. I'm sorry, if it doesn't make you sweat, it isn't a sport. Our guidance on the intricacies of road safety is something we pride ourselves on, but truth be told, it doesn't really pay the bills, and gentlemen of my standing have a number of very expensive hobbies. Enough said. Therefore, we supplement our income by offering you, dear viewers, the chance to purchase some of the finest vehicles on the road. Time to hand over to Paddy O'Neill for the latest lots up for grabs on Wheeler Dealer TV. Our first offering today is this perky little town car. Small, agile, and with a super tight turning circle, it's a real whiz at navigating those narrow city streets. Yours for the bargain price of just £1,000. Nobody likes being stuck in traffic. Fortunately, this next car is tailor-made for undertaking, which can prove handy when you're trying to find a route around a nasty contraflow. Comes exclusively in red, so other drivers can clearly see you driving like a and hopefully get out of your way. Granted, it's not a foolproof system, but we'll remove that dent as part of the price, which is a measly £3,000. This next model's a real eye-catcher and perfect if you're one of those millennials that likes to stand out from the crowd. Just check out this chap's reaction when he notices the impressive styling. Looks like this comes at a price, but at £10,000, I reckon it's worth every penny. And now we come to Paddy's Pound Saver, this week's extra special budget option. Yes, the engine doesn't work, yes, the bodywork has seen better days, and yes, that noise is there all the time. But I'm pretty sure those tyres are in decent nick, so at just 50 quid, you'd feel like you're robbing me blind. This little beauty has only one gear, so it's perfect for those of you who are a bit backwards.
Neil, I found your new car.
But it's not ideal for those of you who are more forward-thinking. But at just 500 quid, it's a bargain you cannot afford to ignore. And finally, do you want something yellow and sporty, but with limited driver visibility? Then this is the car for you. Custom bodywork like this doesn't come cheap, so you'll be laughing all the way to A&E if you give me £6,000.